Hey everybody, check this out. Panhard Corrector. What the hell would that be doing? Well, since we got our 150 Prada up on the hoist, just had its it's had its 70,000 K service, I thought let's whack that Panhard Corrector in, and I'll show you what it's all about just quickly. And you know, it might not be that quick, but this thing, it's got some massive 329 springs in there, which when it hasn't got fuel and water and a load ready to go camping, gives it about a bloody 3-inch lift, right? So it's really high, so it really throws the diff off to the side. And the Panhard, that's this one here, as you might already know. It's connected to the body and the diff housing, which stops the differential assembly moving sideways. That's what locks it in from moving sideways, because of course, if you didn't have that, when you go around corners, you know, your car would be rocking around. And I guess going around bends, that could be something that happens. So there's two things from lifting the vehicle. This bar, instead of being flat, and okay, we're at full extension with the suspension now. The wheels are quite clearly off the ground. So basically, a couple of things happen. The diff actually moves because this shortens. So you can get adjustable lengths is the other way to do this, and get an adjustable length bar, or you can have a look at this Panhard. Let's have another look what's in the box in a minute. But it's going to move the diff location back to the side position where it belongs. But right now, this is a good demonstration of the angle of the bar. Okay, so when the vehicle bounces as it's going around a bend, so you got springs, you got shockers controlling it, but only to you get a certain amount of bounce. And while it bounces up and down, the length of that rod's shortening and lengthening, which rocks the vehicle sideways. So it can affect your handling a bit. And because this vehicle is way too high, because it's set up with the 329s for heavy, that's loaded up with a family, all the camping gear, fuel, water and everything, and it sits and absolutely beautiful and actually drives better because it's a lot lower than its sort of static height without the load in it. But at the moment, not very heavy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it in there, and then I'm going to take it on a over 5,000 kilometre trip up into Queensland onto Fraser Island and really compare driving this vehicle, how it was for the last 10,000 Ks, to what it'll be once we've got the Panhard Corrector in there, and come back and tell you in another video if it made any difference or not. So that's one thing that it'll help with. The other thing it might help with is, because of the length of this bar changing, it actually pulls the diff, right? You'll see the alignment. It's hard to show you in a video, but at the moment, so that wheel's sort of hidden in behind that mud flap. If we come to this side, it's kind of like, again, hard to show you in the video, right? But, so let's not even try, right? But your diff is moving side to side as that goes up and down. Obviously, as that comes down, the diff's going to move to the driver's side. As it goes back up, it's going to move back again. So let's go and have a look what's in the box and what is that going to do for us. The box, Australian made, Australian design, made and owned. KAON, Panhard Corrector, 150 FJ. So does this mean this doesn't work for the 120 Prada? Because I would have thought it's going to be the same, but maybe it's not. So I might have to just check that out. It's definitely going on this 150 then. Let's have a look and see what's in the box. What's in the box? Keep exploring. Yeah, we'll be doing that. Let's see what we've got here. Some bits and pieces. Nicely packed, but I'm going to unpack it with one hand. That's the problem we've got here. What's going on? Are these people a bunch of alcoholics or something? Because time it takes, 1 hour, one beer. I mean, don't they know beer's no good for you or something? You know, like, who'd be drinking that much beer? So at the moment, I've removed the ABS line out of the way. We don't want to damage that. And I've actually removed the bolt from there using the ratchet tie-down strap and loosened off this side to let the bar hang straight down. Okay, step by step, this piece sits in there with you can see what fits in there, recessed facing downwards, and then this piece somehow sits, I'd say about like that. There we go, something like that. And probably put the bolt in the bottom. There's a couple of washers there. I'm just going to work out which way they should go. Okay, so then I've just dropped this plate that goes on the inside. That's the configuration. Pretty neat actually, sits up on top here. Tight fit, bit tight. You got to give it a bit of a tap with your hand, a bit of a wiggle or a tap, whatever. I dropped that down, then I started this bolt. I'm assuming that bolt goes there. I'm assuming these washers It's not really clear in the instructions which washers, because there is some different washers, but these ones don't fit on the other bolts. I'm pretty sure they're the right ones. So I put, and there's like 2 there, so I think that's how it goes. It's like a double special work together type washer. It's all just finger tight at the moment. That one, and the factory one, I'm guessing that goes back in. And I've got one leftover piece that I think must go up here somewhere. I'll work that out to relocate this ABS line. Anyway, pretty straightforward. So then I just lifted the Panhard bar back up, sat it in position, pushed the bolt straight through with one of the big flat washers, to be clear, big flat washer, not those other little weirdy washers that obviously go on these bolts, the weird ones that work, probably don't come loose. And there was a plate that seems to only fit one way around on the back here, right? And I've put the ABS clip backwards compared to how it was, around the wrong way, but that's fine. There's no issue there. And around there, I did loosen off these bolts to move, just to allow a little bit of movement in the brake lines, but I didn't take them out, so don't forget to tighten those up if you do that. You probably don't need to do that, but I'm not sure yet, because I haven't tightened that. I've just got all the bolts sitting in loose. So the step is you put the piece in the bottom, you put this piece on the outside, you drop that down the top. It's a bit tight, bit of a wiggle and a tap. You know, and just put all the original bolt back in. That bolt goes there, that bolt goes there, this bolt goes through there, and you've got the nut at the top. And you would be able to put that around the other way because of the springs in the way. So that's how it all goes, I think. I'll tighten it all up and release the ratchet strap and we'll see how it looks, but it looks better, much improvement like that already. I'm not going to do calculations on what's what. I'm just going to drive the car and I'll let you know in the next video if it seems to drive a bit better around those bouncy bends. So what I like to do when putting a component in that's a different shape and you've got a number of bolts pulling in different directions is tighten them in evenly, like bit by bit by bit on each one. Now, a really important thing I think is where this recessed plate sits in the slot underneath there that you can't see, you can't look at, you can't really feel to see if it's doing that. You need to make sure it is, because if you tighten that it's slightly out of place, then it's going to move around a bit, it's going to be loose. So you might as well take that bolt out and just throw it in the bin. It won't be doing anything. So when you get in there, you need to wobble it around and feel it go into that slot. And when you tighten it down, just make sure it's in there. So that's very important. And that's probably one of the first ones that, this is what I'm saying, I want to, before I tighten anything, I want to bring them all in evenly. Tighten that one, bring this one here in, bring this one here in. On the Panhard, they've got a rubber bush in at each end. So professionals would tell you got to tighten these up on the ground so you don't twist the bush, because bushes haven't got more than 30 degrees or 30% twist, whatever the bloody thing is, 30 something anyway. But what I'm going to say is, to be quite honest, there's not that much twist going on at these bushes. So if you're doing it on a hoist or jacked up, I wouldn't be too fussed about it. But if you want to be perfect, drop it on the ground and tighten up this one here and this one here, if you loosen it like I did, on the ground if you want to be perfect. But I'm going to tighten it up in the air because it's much easier up in the air. And I'm telling you right now, that's going to be twisting like a few degrees at best and just bugger all, and nothing's going to happen to the bush. And this thing sits that high, it's hardly going to move once I drop it on the ground anyway. So we'll have a look at it once it's on the ground. I'll even stick the camera underneath and have a look. So right now, I'm going to get rid of that tie down strap. It's not doing anything anyway. So tie down out of the way, no big dramas. So all I note is, see that brake line? It's got a coating on it, so it's pretty safe. It's got like a rubber coating over it to protect it, right? So let me show you here. So there's the line without the coating. Here it is with a rubber jacket on. And it's not rubbing, but it's against there. So I'm in two minds. Do you just leave it hard against there? It's probably not going to matter, right, at all. All right, just have a look around that way. All right, if you can actually see what's going on. See, it's not rubbing at this side. It's touching at this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rework it. Reworking is a special term we use in the automotive industry where you go like that and just give it a bit of a push. It's going to need a bit more. Two hands off camera, back in a sec. There it is. So this was the closest side here. And as you can see, we've got a little bit of clearance there. That's all we need. It's not going to go anywhere, right? So you're pushing this way. And even if it touches, it's non-issue. You can give it a bit more if you want, but just have a couple millimeters clearance at that side. Make sure these are tight if you did loosen them. I think it's a good exercise just to loosen them, just to allow that brake line to move a little bit when that bracket goes in position up there, because it just allows it to push it back a bit more easily. right? That's all I did, just loosen those and retighten them again. Make sure your ABS line's clipped in. Just double check all your bolts, and I would say after driving a little bit, check them again, because it's suspension components and it's one of those things you certainly don't want to come loose. And feel free to add Loctite 243 onto these bolts if you wanted to, because, well, this one you don't need to, you got a nylock. This one's got the special washers, depends if you trust them or not. This one's genuine, I trust, but it's a bit changed now. Once things change, aftermarket things, worth considering. Anyway, looks good. I'm gonna drop it on the ground, try and see if I can show you the angle from about, I'm gonna try and hold the camera, mud flaps here, right? I'm level with a mud flap, so you can see what the angle is on the ground. With this, it sits so high you'll hardly see any difference. So it is on the ground from about the same position. So looking at it from where I am, it sits a lot flatter. So I was actually wrong thinking it, I mean, it's not going to move much. It's not worried about the twist. You could easily tighten and loosen, you know, that again. But good little upgrade. Let's see how it goes. We'll give you feedback in another video. Beautiful.